the mantra, stage time, stage time, stage time to heart. Today he will deliver Let's Get Personal from the Storytelling Manual. John has just two objectives: to learn the elements of a good story and to tell an original story based on a personal experience. The time for this speech is 6 to 8 minutes. Please welcome John.
There's a hole in our boat! The year 1982, I'm on a raft trip on the Murtaugh section of the Snake River in Idaho, near Twin Falls. Area looks like Iowa. You wouldn't think there's a rapid within 100 miles of there. In fact, it's the biggest water in Idaho, Snake River going through that section. The scenario is, I'm attending Idaho State University at the time, working on my MBA, and ISU has a really good outdoor program. They put together wonderful trips for students. And I'd been down this Murtaugh section with them several other times before. They had a trip coming up. They needed a raft to have some supplies carried. So they said, gee, John, would you be the captain of a paddle raft and carry gear down the river for us? I said, sure. Needed to assemble a crew. My crew is my good friend Jeff, very strong paddler. We've been on a lot of things together, real solid guy. My girlfriend at the time that made Tess look like a heavyweight wrestler, very small. And I invited the director of the MBA program and his wife home. I was trying to score points with the director of the program, second up. Huge mistake. They had told me they were experienced rafters, solid, done all these trips. I knew we were in trouble when we were waiting in the eddy to start, and Ann, Joe's wife, fell out of the boat. We're sitting in the eddy. We haven't even started. She falls out of the boat. Take a deep breath. There's nothing to be done now. We head down the river, and following the directions of the trip leader, we go hard right, which I'd never done before, and find out that there were some jagged rocks which put a hole in the bottom of the raft. Now, this isn't like a hole in the bottom of a hard boat. You're not going to sink. It's a raft. But what happens is when there's a hole in the bottom of the raft, you get about 3 or 4 inches of water in the bottom of the raft, which makes it really hard to maneuver because now the raft weighs much, much more than if it was without a hole on top of the water. We go down the river. This river is 15 miles long. This section is 15 miles long, 23 major rapids. And once you start, you can't get out. You're down in Lava Rock Canyon. So you're committed. You just have to go through the whole thing. I could tell we were in trouble right away. Heavy raft. And Joe and Ann just aren't paddling. I mean, they're going through the motions, but the motions are a lot different than actual effective paddling. You have to dig in, you have to move water so the raft will move. I was not rectitudinous. I did gentle instruction. Remember, this is kind of my boss in the MBA program. I'm trying to score points. And he was a big guy. He was on the President's Council of Economic Advisors. You know, I mean, I'm just a lowly student. I can't direct him for anything. Well, I needed to direct him, so I said, you need to talk about paddling. You know, when you put the paddle in the water, you really got to, we really got to use some motion, and maybe kind of fall forward so your body weight works. And he said, oh yeah, we got it. Well, we keep hitting these series of rapids, and we are not executing good paddling. Fortunately, they're all straight on things, pretty easy to make it through. But what we have coming up that is really scary is paradise. I don't mean paradise like going to heaven and ending up in paradise. I mean pair of dice. That's the name of this rapid, because you are going to step to the table and roll the dice and see what happens. The key to paradise is you line up on the left-hand side of the river, and we do this river in the spring because it's high water, and you need high water, and you literally grab onto willows and branches at the side of the river and hold yourself, while the kayakers go over to an island in the middle of the river, and they paddle into a little slot, and you have to hit the slot, because if you don't hit the slot, there's a cliff over here, a waterfall over here, 15 feet or so. Don't want to go through that. And if you miss the slot, there's another waterfall over here. So you have to hit the slot. So the plan is we hang on the bushes, let the kayakers get over, and then the key point is that you have to paddle, you have to keep paddling into the slot. Because if you don't paddle into the slot, then the current will grab your raft and flip it down towards this waterfall. We go over that. Got it. We gotta paddle. Don't quit. You think you'll be in there, don't quit, keep paddling. So it's our turn. Kayakers are over on the island. They've actually got throw ropes out in case something happens. What could happen? We start paddling. We're lined up perfectly. We get a third of the raft into the slot, and the paddling stops. The boat flips around like this. They hit us with the throw ropes. They've got us against the side of the island, so we're okay. And the trip leader, who is an excellent kayaker, paddles up and is against the side of the boat talking with us in his kayak. And Joe does the worst thing possible. He thinks he's helping, and he reaches down, he grabs the edge of the kayak to hold it. Well, what that does is flips the kayak just enough that the water pressure hits the downward lip and flips Tom over. That's bad, but what's worse, Tom gets sucked under the raft. He's now under the raft. I'm in the back of the raft, so I start grabbing Tom's gear as it comes out. So at least he'll have his gear. He gets out. We grab him, get him on the shore. Needless to say, Tom's a little upset. So the next objective is to keep Tom away from Joe, because Tom wants to beat Joe up. Not a way to make points with your MBA program director. So we stay on one side of the island, everybody else stays on the other side of the island. So now not only have I put my friends and program director at risk, I've got my social circle pissed off at me because I brought along people that are clearly dangerous and screwed up the whole trip. So to get off the island, you have to lower the rafts and gear down about a 10-foot cliff. So we lower the rafts off the cliff, get everybody in their boats, head downstream, make our next objective, which is called Let's Make a Deal. Let's Make a Deal is 5 doors. You gotta love rapid names. The door you want is door 3. Door 3 is the key. We make it through door 3, get down, call it a day. But the point of the story is, if you're the leader, you have to be the leader. You've got to be willing to say, Joe, Ian, you're screwing up huge. Debbie, you're so little you can't do anything. You try not to hurt us, right? And I was not a leader that day. I was not a firm leader because I was afraid of making Joe mad. Fundamental error when you have a hole in the bottom of your boat. Thank you.